So I want to clarify, I use the word ruler a lot, but you will have seen the word straight edge in the title, which is because I thought I was going to make a ruler and it was called a ruler, but the description really didn't mention how to make tick marks on it, and I know it does tell you later. So whether it was an old-timey word or that changed meaning or whatnot, I just want to make it clear. It's a straight edge. It does not have denominations on it. It is just a stick that's for drawing straight lines. Hello, Asa, and to a much broader extent, the internet. I bought this book a while ago. It's the Construction and Principal Uses of Mathematical Instruments, and within it is a bunch of instructions from 1752 on how to build pretty much every single scientific instrument that existed at the time. So, as part of the book, I want to build some of the things. And today we will be working with this little 3-paragraph section on rulers. I will be working with some scrap wood that my dad actually cut down outside. It looks cool. It was in the garbage bin, so I don't feel bad using it. And I think it would be very fun to start making my own tools out of the wood we cut from our own backyard. That just has a nice ring to it. The passage that gives us instruction here says, rulers, which are of brass or wood, ought to be very straight every way. They are made straight with files and a planer whose bottom is steel, as also by rubbing them and another very straight ruler together. One side of these rulers is sloped to keep the ink from blotting the paper. To know whether a ruler be very straight or not, draw a line upon a plane. Then turn the ruler about and apply the same edge to the line, and if the edge of that ruler exactly agrees with the right line, it is a sign that the ruler is very straight. And of course, if you needed a picture of a ruler, that's a ruler. So I think the first step is going to be to rip the bark off of these puppies. All right, so I think I'm going to work with this board, and it'll either be scrapped as a practice piece, or I would be pretty happy if this is about the length of my ruler, and I can save this for maybe a different part in the book. So I think the big thing now is I've got one cut side here, and I need to get a cut side here somehow. And then I can put this like this in a vise. What I might do is I might do it like this, try and get this guy down and see where we're at. Actually going pretty well. That's actually looking really good. A lot of the struggle I was having was because I didn't frickin' have it in a vise. And now that it is in one, this is going swimmingly. This is the side I cut from the edge of a circle down to this. And on this side, the two edges are lining up really well. I'm having to plane this side a little bit too to try and get them even. Problems do show up on the other side, and I'm hoping that's just enough planing will get these two sides square like they are over here, and then I can put this in the vise so that way the top and bottom are square. It's actually a little weird because if you remember from the text, I'm supposed to bevel one of these edges when I'm done. So all of this nice squaring will eventually, on one side at least, be planed or sanded away. So I'm not sure how close I am. I'm having some major difficulties trying to get this flat. And though after about an hour and a half of just planing it, I'm starting to think that it's mostly just I need to get down a lot before I see it square up. Because a lot of this is uneven. This patch here that dips down used to be like that big. As far as progress, it's looking really sharp, I think. I'm going to get all the sides planed, and then I think I'm going to try and cut it down the middle. And it doesn't matter, because however I cut this one, whatever, I'm thinking that the sides I'm going to be true are these outsides. So I'll cut it in half. That'll give me 2 rulers. I can rub this edge to this edge for like an hour to try and straighten them out and sand it, and I should have 2 long, skinny rulers. And that should be the first step on the journey of making my own set of tools. I'm getting it down. You have to go back and forth the direction you go every once in a while. But this is starting to square up, I think, exceptionally well for the fact I'm using hand. So obviously don't take my word for it because this is my first time ever using a block planer. But it kind of feels like this side is flat. Which is weird because I'm pretty sure it is pretty flat relative to the sides. The problem is I still just want it lower but this piece of wood is really coming along as a cut piece. All right, so this part might be ill-advised, but I'm gonna take this now pretty cleaned up piece of wood. I'm gonna cut it down the middle with a wood saw. I'm gonna cut this in half. I'm gonna finish planing it because I can't get it to lie exactly flat, and I'm hoping that half of the area will make it easier to plane it flat. And then I'll have 2 rulers, and I can use them to flatten out each other, rub the 2 sides together until they wear into a flat plane, and they're good rulers then. And then from there I can make one in inches and one in, I think I'm going to do some on my own units just for fun because we're starting from scratch anyway. So interesting happening. I cut it down the middle. The grain is kind of tilted with how I made it, and so the cut ended up being slanted. So we'll see. Again, remember, it's a ruler, so only one side has to be good, but I don't like this development. I'm gonna try and see if I can plane these guys better. Well, I got the skinnier one mostly level, so now I will take that and see if I can't make it somewhat ruler shaped and make sure at least one of these edges is flat as a pancake. All right, so I cleaned them up a bit to the point where they're pretty square all across. Again, that doesn't really matter. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some sandpaper on the ground and rub them along like this to try and get them really smooth and flat. And then I'll rub them together like this for a long frickin' time. And hopefully you should end up with 2 straight edges, and then I can work this however I need to get it sloped on the edges and whatnot. Pretend it stays in place. This part of the project I think is the coolest part. Basically, I'm rubbing these 2 pieces of wood together until they're flush together. And at that point, they should theoretically both be straight lines. Without really any measuring, you can get a really straight thing. And that's kind of what the premise of all these old rulers was based off of, was just, yeah, okay, so we don't have like the world's best square or level, but we can rub 2 sticks together. Well, guys, I did it. I got a slight bevel on the top. I think this edge is pretty much flat. And I tried to make it thinner, although I might keep working on that later. So this is one of them, the finished one. And then down here, I've got one more that I haven't finished yet. I will test this out on some paper using the book right there to check if it's straight. So I did a test with my first ruler that I considered finished, and I followed the test in the book, which is you draw a line like this, flip it over, draw a line like this, and if they match up, you're good. And as you can see here, they just ever so slightly don't match up. Which to me, it looks like there's a curve in the middle. And then it bends back up, which is very interesting. So I will be working on fixing that today. But that's how you test to see if a ruler is straight, and this one isn't. That's a lot of board that's no longer board. There we go. So now I'm going to do this for like an hour and see if we can't get it straight. So you should have seen my test of it. And you can see it was off by like a millimeter. So I feel like rubbing the 2 pieces of wood together should eventually wear them down enough. But wood is definitely not sandpaper. So we'll see how long this takes. All right, a little bit of sanding, a little bit of sanding against each other, and we're gonna see if these are straight. I don't know about you, but that looked pretty straight. These 2 tests are both this ruler. This one, where you can tell it's still a little bit off, is this guy, which I will keep workshopping later. But that means I do have a straight edge that I will be using for the rest of this project. He's pretty ugly. I still need to sand down the top a bit, but that is all aesthetic purposes. This edge right here is a straight edge. Thank you for watching episode 1 of constructing stuff based on that book. I hope to do more. It's got compasses, eventually slide rules and measuring rods, and hopefully I will be able to make this from a straight edge ruler into like an actual ruler with tick marks on it. But for now, I will leave it at that. Thank you for watching. Also, if you happen to be the type of person who likes websites, there is a companion post on my website, linked in the description below.